everybody. My name is Catherine and I'm an adult services librarian with the South Huntington Public Library, and I'm going to talk to you today about a couple of books I've been reading and listening to lately. First up is Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed. This is her debut novel, and if this book is any indication, I really hope that she does write a lot more, because she's a great new voice in fiction. This book is super timely for the age we're living in right now. It addresses issues like race and class and white privilege, and a timely book for our era. The book centers on the complicated relationship between Alix Chamberlain, who is a white mother of two little girls who lives in Philadelphia, and the woman that she employs as her babysitter, who is 25-year-old Amira Tucker. She's a college-educated black woman, kind of underemployed right now, a little lost as to what she's going to be doing with the rest of her life, and she works as Alix's babysitter. So the book opens with the scene of Alix calling up Amira and asking her if she can come and get the 3-year-old toddler Briar out of the house, because there's a family situation unfolding and she doesn't want her to see it. So she asks Amira if she could take her out of the house. This is like 11 o'clock at night. So they end up in a high-end market, and where Amira is subsequently accused of kidnapping, questioned by a white security guard, and then the whole thing is caught on videotape. So I don't want to say too much more because the story unfolds so deliciously that I don't want to spoil anything, but it's super interesting. I can tell you that I couldn't wait to take my walk every morning, because I did listen to the audio version of this book, and I couldn't wait to walk every morning so I could find out what happened. And the characters really stayed with me every day, and I couldn't wait to find out what would happen the next day. Now, Kylie Reed, I normally try not to know so much about a book or an author before I read it, because I want to just experience it, just, have it all be a surprise. But I did look her up afterwards, and I find out, I learned that she is a black woman. She is a graduate of the prestigious Iowa Writers program at Iowa State, and that she also did work for 6 years as a babysitter for a wealthy white family. So she's familiar with the subject matter. So Such a Fun Age, Kylie Reed. Next up, I don't have the book because it's out, so I just printed out the cover for you. If I Had Your Face by Frances Cha, another debut novelist that we want to watch out for. The story centers on 4 women, 2 sets of roommates, live in Seoul, South Korea. One of them is a mute hairdresser who is obsessed with K-pop, and her roommate is obsessed with her appearance. And the second set of roommates, one of them is she works in a room salon, which kind of sort of reminded me of like a modern day geisha. Like they entertain men and wealthy men and drink with them, and I guess sometimes it leads to other activities. And her roommate is an up-and-coming artist who has gotten involved in the wealthy set in Seoul. Think Crazy Rich Asians, South Korean style. So these 4 women are just kind of trying to make their way in Korea. And one of the things that compelled me to pick up the book was, and I guess the title, is that South Korea is one of the top places for plastic surgery in the world. A lot of women go under the knife to achieve the South Korean standard of beauty, which is very difficult to achieve. It involves breaking jaws and eyelids and all sorts of things. So, but if you are successful and you can achieve that standard of beauty, you do have more success in life, career-wise, finding a husband. So I just found that super interesting. And this book is also about a culture I don't know a lot about, so that made it interesting. Frances Cha, so after I read the book, I looked her up, and she was a former travel and culture editor for CNN based in Seoul. So she's familiar with her subject matter. So If I Had Your Face, Frances Cha. And then finally, something completely different, kind of taking a left turn here, is The Beekeeper of Aleppo by Chrissy Leftieri. Again, I don't have the book, sorry, so I printed out. This story follows Nuri and Afra. They're two, stuck in Korea still, two Syrian refugees who are escaping to try to make it to the UK, where they have a cousin who's waiting for them. And the story weaves together two timelines. One of them is their Nuri and Afra's former life in Syria, how they lived, and then their escape from their war-torn country. And then the other timeline is the present-day efforts to get permission to be cleared to go to the UK to see their cousin. Christy, her parents were Cypriot refugees. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Refugees, and she herself did work in a refugee camp in Athens for a time, so she's quite familiar with her subject matter. But I found this fascinating book because, well, it's beautifully written, first of all, but second of all, it kind of gives you a glimpse behind the headlines as to what the ordinary Syrian people are enduring as the conflict goes on over there. So this is a way to see what's happening there. So The Beekeeper of Aleppo by Christy Leftieri. So I hope you'll add some or all of these books to your reading list. I also wanted to let you know that in September we have coming up a couple of book discussions. On the 15th at 11:30 on Zoom, we're going to be discussing The Art of Racing in the Rain by Garth Stein. And on the September 16th in the evening, we're going to be discussing The Girl with Seven Names, a North Korean defector's story by Hunseo Lee. I hope I pronounced that correctly. But that's a memoir of her being able to leave North Korea. So I hope you can join us for some or both of those. And thank you for watching, and happy reading.